When this Walker-Turner radial drill press came available in my area, I couldn't resist it. The main difference with a radial drill press is that the head is mounted on an arm that will slide back and forth. With a regular drill press, the distance from the chuck to the column is fixed. And that distance is what we use to describe the size of the drill press. And it's called swing. In this case, this is a 14-inch drill press because the distance from the center of the spindle to the column is 7 inches, and twice that is 14. So it can swing a total of 14 inches. But with a radial drill press, the arm can slide. This drill press can cut a hole that is over 30 inches away from the edge of a board because this distance from the chuck to the column is over 30 inches. Radial drill presses come in two basic classes, lightweight and heavyweight. One might look at this machine and think of it as heavyweight, and in some sense it is. It probably weighs 700 or 800 pounds. But the truth is, as radial drill presses go, this is a lightweight machine because it was designed primarily for woodworking. And in fact, heavyweight radial drill presses for serious metalworking applications are much, much larger than this. Like with a regular drill press, this one can swing in this direction as well. The column and the head can be raised up and down with this crank to get more distance between the table and the chuck. Or if you want, you can swing this all the way past the table just in case you need to drill something that's taller than the space available. This machine has a number 2 Morse taper, and it came to me with a more traditional chuck, but I happened to have a pretty good quality keyless chuck that fit, so I went ahead and replaced it. The seller even had the drift key. Walker-Turner made this machine in 2 configurations. One of those configurations had a 6-inch quill travel, and then the other one had a little over 4 inches. This is the latter. The 6-inch quill travel machines are more rare, more desirable, but this is one of the 4-inch models. This machine has a 1/2 horsepower 3-phase motor that runs at 1140 RPM. Overall, this machine is in pretty good shape for its age, which has got to be somewhere around 60 years. Someone did a nice job cleaning it up and setting it up with a VFD so it can be used with single-phase power. As with most any 3-phase machine, you can use a VFD to run it on single-phase power, but with a drill press, the VFD enables additional functionality, which is in fact useful because you can change the speed of the press. The table has some holes. In a traditional drill press, these holes would be in an arc, thus the name arc of shame, but because a radial drill press can reach anywhere on the table, the holes are kind of in no particular pattern. The table does have these nice T-slots, which could be used for mounting things. The table legs are mounted on casters, which originally I thought was a nice idea, but one of these casters, I don't know how visible it is damaged, and so I'm a little worried about the stability of this machine. I don't know that pin-style casters were ever the right idea for a machine this heavy. I'm probably going to take these casters off and replace it with a skid for use with a pallet jack, maybe? I haven't decided yet. So the table part, which is this and the table itself, this is kind of all one piece, but it's attached to this base with 4 bolts. Unfortunately, 2 of the bolts were missing when I got this, which is a little disturbing, but I dare say I can find replacements. The table lift mechanism works, but if you run it through its whole range, parts of the range are pretty crunchy. I dare say this would benefit from being taken apart, lubricated, and put back together, but that's a significant job that I'm not sure when I will tackle. One little oddity is that most of the machine, the paint is in really decent shape. This metallic bluish color, I don't know if it's original or if it was redone, but this piece, the depth stop holder, by comparison, is just dreadful. It's like it was added later and never cleaned up. The machine came to me with this plug attached. And the first thing I noticed is that it wouldn't fit in any of my outlets. And the reason why is that this is a 5-20 plug, which is supposed to be used only for 110 volts. In order to make this work in my shop, I was going to have to add an outlet with a 5-20 receptacle wired for 220. So I just went ahead and changed it out for a 6-20 plug, which is electrically the same thing, except it's labeled and configured for 220 instead of 110. You can tell by the way the pins are oriented differently that these plugs are designed to prevent you from putting the wrong kind of plug into a receptacle. I felt better having the more correct plug on this machine, and changing the plug was a lot easier than replacing an outlet anyway. One of the things I enjoy about vintage machinery is the history. In particular, it's always fun to figure out when a machine was made, but this one has been a bit of a challenge. And the reason why is that this plate is not original to this machine. Very often when you're trying to trace the origins of a machine, you can look at the serial number plate and use the information on it to deduce when and where it was made. But whoever did the restoration on this machine replaced the original plate with this one, which came off of a 900 series Walker-Turner drill press from the 1940s. But this machine could not possibly be from the 1940s. And it has taken a bit of detective work to figure that out. Not to mention a bit of help from a very helpful guy named Dan, who I met at ARNFest and on OWWM.org and on one of the Facebook Walker-Turner groups. He is the real expert here. I am merely a parrot. The most important piece of information Dan gave me is that this is a 1200 series drill press head. Walker-Turner did not introduce the 1200 series head until 1952. Walker-Turner was started much earlier, but the company was acquired by Kearney Trecker in 1948. So this machine dates to at least the Kearney Trecker era. However, the company was acquired again when Rockwell bought the Walker-Turner division of Kearney Trecker in 1956. Now, although Walker-Turner introduced the 1200 series drill press head in 1952, there's no indication that I can find that they adapted the Radial drill press to use that head until several years later. In their 1955 and 1956 catalogs, both of which are available on vintagemachinery.org, the Radial drill press pictured in those catalogs uses the old 900 series head. That isn't necessarily conclusive because pictures in catalogs weren't always updated promptly, but in the 1957 catalog, the picture shown for the Radial drill press there does use a 1200 series head. 1957 was after the Rockwell acquisition. I also note that my motor is labeled Rockwell. All of this suggests a date after 1956. It's also the case that in the 1955 and 56 catalogs, there's no mention of a number 2 Morse taper as an option. Perhaps that was something that the 900 series head didn't typically offer, and it only came in with the 1200 series head. Again, since mine has a number 2 Morse taper, that's another clue. Finally, in the 1961 catalog, this is 5 years after Rockwell acquired Walker-Turner, all of the model numbers changed, including the model number for the machine itself and the model number for its motor. My motor is labeled Rockwell, but uses the old Walker-Turner number. This again, not conclusive, but it suggests that my machine is before 1961. So I'm guessing a date of 1957 to 1960, somewhere in there. I currently don't have a way to get more specific than that, but I do enjoy the detective work.